Welcome back to Tip Tuesday, guys. Apologies for last week, but we have a really exciting episode up for you today. We're basically going to be going over the tests that you need to do in order to make sure you're getting what you want out of your workout sessions. If you're not doing the tests that I'm going to speak about, chances are you're probably doing the wrong kind of training for what you actually want to achieve. And that just sounds to me like banging your head against the wall. Not lots of fun. Doing a lot of effort, putting in a lot of time, and not getting to the result or to the way that you want to feel. That becomes incredibly frustrating. If you are frustrated, if you're going to be putting your time and energy into something and it's not giving you anything back, are you going to follow through with it? Are you going to stick to it? You probably aren't. Motivation will take you so far, but motivation is something that runs out and it always needs to be replenished. And I find one of the best ways in order to replenish your motivation so that you can continue coming back the next day or the next week or the next month is finding something that is measurable. So test is one of them, and doing that test, then you have a baseline, then you can retake that test in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, depending on what you're testing. When you find that you're getting better, or if you find that you're not getting better, at least you can then get on the right path. But if you are getting better, guess what? You're gonna feel like you're getting something back. It's going to refill your jug of motivation, and it's going to get you to a place where you are going to continue to push forward. If there's something that I've taught you at all in these fitness videos, it's that you need consistency. We spoke a lot about why it's important to be consistent in our first Tip Tuesday video, where we spoke about homeostasis. In a nutshell, you need to tell your body what you want from it for a long enough period of time in order for it to catch on and be like, okay, this is what this human wants from me, so I will give it to them. But the body, first of all, doesn't just catch on first time. You need to repeatedly put it under the conditions that it needs to be under in order to get the result that you're looking for. So it has to be done over a certain period of time and for long enough. And second of all, which is as important as the first step and what we're going to be talking about today, is you need to consistently work at the same target. So if you are not directing your workouts, you are constantly, pretend that there's 4 targets here on your screen, and you specifically want to hit the top target on this side. I'm not going to go this left or right or anything because I'm going to get confused, but you want to hit this target, right? But every single time you exercise, you actually, because you don't know which zones that you should be hitting or what you should be doing to reach your goal, you're actually taking your dart and throwing at this target. And then the next time you work out, you're throwing at this target. And then the next time you work out, you're throwing at this target. And then maybe once a month, you're throwing towards the target that you actually want. But one little dart in that target isn't enough to get the response from your body, because the body takes time to catch on basically. And without consistent effort, you're never going to actually get to what your goal is. So I think today's lesson is going to be really important, but it's also going to be lots of fun because we're finally getting away from the boring, like, this is homeostasis, this is what isometric exercises are, this is what was the other one? Compound exercises, this is what isolation exercises are, this is what aerobic training is, this is what anaerobic training is, this is what VO2 max is. These things are not really that fun to learn about because they're just basically concepts by themselves. But once we take these concepts and we understand them, then we can build useful knowledge on top of it. It's like having a really good foundation for a building that you can build nice and tall. You have to work on your foundation, and if you want a nice, tall, strong structure on top of that. And that's what I want for you guys in your health and fitness journey. That is what TrainMe Academy stands for. Before I get into more specifics about that, let me talk a little bit more about the Academy, just so you guys know what's going on. Guys, our opening special is complete. I could not justify running it any longer. It was a ridiculous, crazy special that I don't think could ever be repeated, but thank you for everyone that took advantage of that and jumped on board. We are still running at a special price. We're not going to jump straight back up to our normal price. We are still running at a special price, which is now 699 Rand. It is still an absolute steal for what you're getting. I've seen a lot of fitness apps being advertised. I've seen a lot of new methodologies and people going online and flashy advertising, and everything sounds so freaking amazing. Like, oh my gosh, you get access to thousands of exercises in an exercise library. It's like, okay, that's not very useful. Actually, that is basically just you've taken videos that you can get off YouTube for free and you've put it in an app. Okay, you put it in, you packaged it in like a little button you can click on. But then what do we do with these exercises? If you don't know what to do with the exercises, it's not very helpful. It's basically like going to different group exercise classes over and over and expecting to get a certain result when all those group exercise instructors have got different goals in mind and different methodologies. If you sign up to these products that are just advertising this flash and like so many things and all of access to information, guys, nothing new is coming out of that. It's the 21st century. We've had access to lots of information at our fingertips for how long? Stop getting enticed by these things of, oh, you get so much and you get this and that. And if you are doing something in the fitness industry, guys, I need to stress this to you. If you are going to do something in the fitness industry, I promise you, you are probably going to be wasting your time by having the choice of yourself to pick your exercises or the routines that you want to do. Because yes, you can tick off that box where I'm having so much fun, I'm clicking on the exercise that sounds fun or the routine that looks really cool every single time, and yes, that's stimulating and you have this idea that you have this choice of what you're doing, but really it doesn't really help you, because again, you're going to be throwing your darts at different targets every single time, and you're not going to end up actually reaching your goals. What TrainMe Academy is actually offering you for 699 Rand is a plan that is personalized for you. It's not one-on-one coaching. There's no ways that I could justify giving you my one-on-one and individual time for 699 Rand. I'm going to be upfront with that. But what I do is I collect information from you. I find out what your exercise goals are. I find out about your history. And then taking that information, I actually direct you in the right direction. I don't just take a template plan and throw it your way. I take time to actually review what you have access to, what you want to achieve, and then I take a builder that I've got, that I've actually developed myself from scratch, because I used to do one-on-one online personal training. So plans that I've actually made for different people, I direct what you're looking for. When I put together the plan, I find out what your goals are, what you have access to, and I build it in such a way that I've got the things in mind that I'm already teaching you. And again, guys, these are the actual basics. And I know how to program to get the results depending on what you want. I have done thousands of consultations. I know that sounds ridiculous. Oh my God, Neil, how could you say that you've done thousands of consultations? When I started working in the fitness industry over a decade ago, 10 years ago, what I did was I was a personal trainer on a cruise ship. So for an entire year of my life, it was me and my friend Brian. We were the only two fitness guys on a cruise ship that was servicing over 1,000 guests, and we would recycle 1,000 guests every 10 days. For an entire year, we had access to 1,000 people, obviously coming in and out the gym, doing consultations, checking what these people want and what they would like to achieve, and then giving them a plan that ticks the boxes of what they need, but also tries to incorporate what that person wants as well. So what TrainMe Academy is doing is it's taking the knowledge that you need, that a trainer needs to know, because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand this knowledge, whether they're qualified or not qualified. It's unfortunate, but it's true. It's taking all the knowledge that you actually need in order to make sure that you hit your goals. And I'm giving you all of that experience and all of my expertise for 699 Rand, guys. That is a bargain. I check up with you online. I make sure that your progressions are correct. There's a lot of things that go into it. So even $6.99, it is a discounted rate. Let me just get that rant off my chest. Woo! I'm so glad. Okay, let's get into more of the fun stuff. So there's two things I still have to get done today. I have to speak about the strength and cardio tests that you should be doing in order to make sure that you are pointing towards the right zone, depending on what your goals are. And I also have questions. We have 4 questions. And the 5th thing I think was just more of a comment than someone made to try to be funny. Anyway. Okay, so the different, so let's start off with the most important, the strength tests. Oh, Kelsey, you're amazing. Huge bargain. I am apparently the tits. Thank you, Kelsey. I really appreciate that. Kelsey has actually been lucky enough to have one-on-one teaching by me, and I've also made her a personalized plan. She's been getting fantastic results. We've taken the training wheels off of her program at the moment, and she's really getting into that muscle building zone, which is what her goals are. She is building, her legs have developed quite nicely, so she's got extra centimeters on her legs because we did those kinds of tests before. And also she's made quite substantial strength gains. The way that I am progressing her program at the moment, she's literally just getting stronger leaps and bounds because she's exercising in the right zone. But thank you for the shout out, Kelsey. I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you for being here with us. So I completely lost my train of thought. So yes, I have to talk about the strength tests, and then I also have to answer the questions. So there's a lot of so's today. So is my go-to word normally, but today it seems like extra amount of so's going on. Anyway, strength tests are super important when you are looking to work in your anaerobic zone. So if you remember, if you go back to our previous video, we talk a lot about anaerobic training, and you can't talk about anaerobic training or aerobic training without knowing what VO2 max is. So go back to review that video. So if you have any sort of body image goal or strength goal or power goal, you need to know which anaerobic zone you fit into. So just to be clear, the endurance, so it's strength endurance, the muscle building, the strength, and the power, all of those 4 categories all fall under anaerobic training, okay? And in order for you to make sure that you are in the right zone, it's important to do a strength test called, that was the drum roll, the 1 rep max test. Okay, it sounds very like, no, not everyone will be able to do it. That is not true. So 1 rep max test, well, the idea of what a 1 rep max test is to find the amount that you could, the maximal load that you could do for 1 repetition. It's not really a test I would recommend to do unless you are an athlete, okay? If you are a beginner, even if you're intermediate, I wouldn't recommend actually doing the 1 rep max test, but you can still find out what your maximal load is by doing a 3 rep max test. So the 1 rep max test is obviously the standard on it. Then you can get a 3 rep max test, you can get a 5 rep max test, and you can also get a 10 rep max test. And using a simple formula, you can find out what your 1 rep max is at a certain load. Okay, so now you've done a strength test. So for an example, you have done a max bench press. You now know what your 1 repetition max is. For the purpose of this, or for the purpose of making this easy and just as an easy example, let's say your 1 rep max bench press is 100 kilograms. Hello, little Anna. Thank you for joining. Wave at the little Anna. So let's just say that your 1 rep max test, 1 rep max bench press is 100 kilograms. If you are looking to work in the endurance zone, so the strength endurance zone, you need to work at less than 65%. It's not exactly 65%, but for the purpose again of this video, I'm going to say it's less than 65% of your 1 rep max. That means that if you're looking to build up your strength endurance, so it is the endurance zone, but it's still a strength endurance zone. If you're looking to build up your strength endurance, you should not be working with weights that are above 65 kilograms. In order for you to work in the endurance zone, for example, you should be able to do more than 12 repetitions with the amount of weight that you have, okay, that you're working with per set. If you've done your 1 rep max test correctly, and it's 100 kilograms, you shouldn't be able to bench press 65 kilograms for more than 12 for less than 12 repetitions. So let's say, for example, you've calculated your 1 rep max test, you've got to 100 kilograms, that's what you think your 1 rep max is. You put 65 kilograms on the bar, and you are not able to bench press at least 12 repetitions. That probably means that you've got your 1 rep max slightly off, in which case you can easily adjust it. If, for example, you get up to 65%, so 65 kilograms in this example of 100 kilograms as 1 rep max, and you are able to do 20 repetitions of 65%, your 1 rep max test is then also wrong. It probably means that you can bench press quite a lot more than 100 kilograms. Okay, see where I'm going with this? If it's not obvious, then let me just blatantly explain. At your minimal amount of going into the endurance zone, you should be at a low enough percentage that you can get to about 20 repetitions. That might not make sense either. Let me try and make this as clear and concise as possible. We're going to move out of the strength endurance zone, and we're going to talk about the muscle building zone. In the muscle building zone, you need to be working with between 65 and 85 of your 1 rep max. Okay? In this zone, you should be doing no less than 12 repetitions, but no less than 6 repetitions, and no more than 12 repetitions. So that's the zone that you're aiming for if you're actually looking to build muscle. If you're not in that zone or not in those rep range, you're not actually building muscle. You're wasting your time. So again, our example, if we are going for the muscle building zone, and so it's between 65 and 85%, which would be 65 kilograms or 85 kilograms. That means that theoretically at 65%, at your 65 kilograms, you will be able to do at least 12 repetitions of that weight. Because at the minimal percentage, you should be around at the upper bracket of the amount of repetitions that you can do. So because it's between 6 and 12 and your minimum percentage is 65, if you do 65%, 65 kilograms, you should be able to do at least 12 repetitions of that weight. At 85% or at 85 kilograms, you should be able to do at least 6 repetitions of that weight. In order to be in the golden zone, to make sure that you're constantly throwing at that target that you're going for and being able to keep your body in that correct zone for a long enough period of time, you need to work between that 65 and 85%, doing different modes of repetitions and different modes of sets and changing your rest around to make sure that you are doing a principle called progressive overload, that you're always challenging your body slightly more as you progress through each week, but that you always make sure that you stay between that 65 and that 85 kilograms. Once you've done that for a couple of weeks, couple of months, depending on what your nutrition looks like, depending on how far up you're pushing it or how low you're pushing it, you then need to retest, because chances are your muscles have got stronger, even though in the muscle building zone you're more going to be getting a muscular look than an actual like athletic performance output, which doesn't really matter. You're still going to be gaining some form of strength. So let's call it every 12 weeks, you should redo your 1 rep max tests again to see what they are now, to make sure that your new 85%, which may not be 85 kilograms anymore, is applying to this, and that your 65 kilogram or your 65% and your lower side is you're actually still in that zone. So another great thing about retesting, not only to know that you're still working in the right zone, that you're aiming at the right target, but another really, really great thing is you're going to see visual or actual progress. You can map it out. You can say, at month 1, I could bench press 100 kilograms. At month 2, I could bench press 110 kilograms. If you have a body image goal, then obviously the other tests that you should do in conjunction with the strength test that I've just described about the 1 rep max test is you should take images of your body. You should take measurements of your body. Measure your arm, measure your chest, measure your thigh, measure your waist, measure your hips. Measure parts of your body that is most important to you. And if you are looking for a gain in muscle, for example, like I mentioned earlier by Kelsey, one of my clients, she wanted to gain muscle, and when she gained those 4 centimeters on her thigh, it was a stimulation of, yes, thank goodness, I've been doing the program, I've been putting in the work, I've been eating correctly, and now I can actually see that there is a visual improvement. And again, like I spoke about earlier in the video, this is going to help motivate you to consistently keep moving forward. Otherwise, you're just kind of walking around in the dark being like, I don't know if this is working, but I'm gonna continue. There's only so long that you could possibly just self-motivate yourself and fool yourself into continuing. The brain and the motivation and all of that needs to see that there's change, that there is better things happening, and when there's better things happening, it motivates you to keep going. So I'm going to stop going on about this. I'm going to have to speak a lot more about these tests and about the different zones, because I've touched a little bit about on strength endurance zone, and I spoke I kind of went through it, but not in a lot of detail. The muscle building zone, I would still like to speak to you about the strength zone and the power zone, so that you understand all 4 of these zones. So depending on what your goal is, you can make sure that you're working in the correct zone. You're welcome. The information that I'm giving you on these videos, guys, this is good stuff. This is the kind of stuff that people pay thousands and thousands of rands for in a course in order for them to learn how to be, for example, a personal trainer. I want you guys to learn how to be your own personal trainers. So take this free nuggets of information, use it. If this information is valuable to you and it is helpful to you. I really appreciate feedback, guys. I really appreciate it. So many people have come to me, well, not come to me, but messaged me and said, Neil, your videos are helping me. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the thank you. Please continue saying thank you for these videos. But if you really want to show your appreciation, don't just tell me, thank you, Neil. Just do a simple thing, guys. If these videos are helpful to you, share this information. Let other people benefit from it too. Let me benefit from it more by getting the word out, because in order for me to continue doing what I'm doing, I need to be able to make an income. I need to be able to make a living off of this. And so the more people that know what I'm doing, the more people that hopefully join my programs that I'm offering, that I've been speaking about, and it becomes a circle. The more videos I can make, the more value I can give you guys, the more attention that I can give this. If I'm not making enough money out of this in order to continue doing it, then TrainMe Academy will not be a thing anymore. These videos won't be a thing anymore. I won't be able to build programs and all the stuff that I have lined up for you. Okay, we have already gone over time, but I am long-winded and that's just me. So let's get to the questions that we've had. The first one will go very quickly because I have no idea what this is. If someone can tell me, I'm going to ask the person that asked this question. I've been asked, can you discuss female athlete syndrome? I've never heard about this before. I have no idea what it is. I'm going to ask you about it so I can do some research on it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to answer a question on it. I have psychology background. I have a degree in psychology. Maybe when I read the article, I'll be able to give some sort of like relevant answer that will be more relevant than the average Joe person, because I've got the athlete background, CrossFit athlete, a podium in CrossFit competitions, podium at South African National weightlifting championships. I came second in the country, so I know a bit about the athlete space. I don't know about being a female. I've never been one of those before, not that I know of, not in this lifetime at least. And so I don't know what this syndrome is. God, I'm so long-winded. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry. I've got to have my fun in these videos too. Okay, so the next question. How do you know if you're overtraining? This happened to me when I was actually, funnily enough, competing in CrossFit. It was the last year, or the last like stab that I had at CrossFit, okay? So I took to CrossFit very openly. I loved CrossFit. CrossFit is like me in a lot of ways. It has ADHD. It's for people with ADHD. There's so many different skills you have to learn. There's so many different ways that you have to put them together. You have to know your body really well. There's always something to focus on. There's always something new or something shiny to do. And so when I started overtraining, luckily, touch wood, I did not get an injury. A clear sign of overtraining is when you injure something. It means that your body has not fully recovered, or generally it means your body hasn't fully recovered from what you were doing before. And then because the muscles and the joints and the tendons and the ligaments or whatever weren't as happy as they normally were, then you can obviously get like a tear or whatever. So in an extreme example, when you're overtraining, you can get an injury. In my example, I started getting ears, nose, and throat infections regularly. I don't get sick almost ever. I mean, besides this whole corona thing, but I hardly ever get sick. And all of a sudden I was having these constant throat infections. My ears kept on popping. All of these things started happening to me. And so I did some research and found out if you did too many high intensity interval training sessions per week, it can take a big effect on your immune system. And so that's what was happening to me. Luckily my body still pushed through and I was able to do all the ridiculous things that I was doing in CrossFit, and I didn't get an injury. But that is a big sign of overtraining. If you start to get sick more often than you usually do, or if the ears, nose, and throat thing happened to me, so those are clear signs of overtraining. Okay, the next question. How can I make my muscles less stiff? Is it something my body will eventually get over? Generally, if you've been coming from a sedentary lifestyle, meaning you haven't been very active for a while, and you start doing exercise, especially if you start doing the exercises that I've been telling you to do, So this is one of the clients that are on our TrainMe Academy program. It is very normal for you to get stiff, and generally if you are getting everything that you need nutrition wise, progressively every week you will get less and less stiff and your body will kind of get over it. If this continues though for a longer period of time, you may be short of certain micronutrients. It could be a magnesium, potassium. There's a couple of different things and combinations that your body needs in order to make sure that you aren't getting as stiff as you should. So if it pertains for a long period of time, it's probably got to do with your nutrition. So let's see if your body gets over it. If not, we can have another conversation about this then. The next question I have, how much is too much exercise and how should rest days be properly dealt with? This is a very loaded question, okay, because it is very subjective. Too much exercise for me is very different to too much exercise for someone that is an intermediate, and it is very different to too much exercise that for a beginner. So just listening to your body is super important in the beginning, okay? So too much exercise is when you are getting DOM, so delayed muscle onset soreness, very badly, so like the stiffness I talked about. And if you're just feeling low energy, and again, if you're starting to feel like fluish symptoms or you're getting sick more often, that's probably too much exercise. And rest days, the best way to deal with a rest day is to make sure that you get the right nutrition and water in. So eating all of the meals that you normally eat with, if you're on an eating plan, as you should be when you are on an exercise plan, those two things should go together. You should definitely make sure that you eat not less food now because you're not eating like exercising. Get that idea out of your head. You should be eating the amounts of foods that you need in order to replenish the stores that your body has drawn from, as well as your body needs to recover from the breaking down that you've done to it. So training is actually breaking down muscle. It's breaking down certain systems so that they can rebuild faster, stronger, and whatever. So rest days, make sure you get enough sleep, drink your water, get your calories in. And then the last question, this is just going to be someone asked me, do you come here often? I come here every Tuesday. I sit here, speak to myself every Tuesday. We're already at 34 minutes. This is already a long video. I have a lot to say, and I still have lots more to say. So let's keep Tip Tuesday going, guys. Join up with the Academy, share this video, share what the Academy is with your friends. Please, it would mean the world to me. I would love to help more people. I want people to be able to be empowered. I don't want people to have to rely on trainers and services that they probably cannot afford anymore, especially now with lockdown, especially because we're in like a double recession, especially because like things are so crazy at the moment. Get a good balance. Come to TrainMe Academy. We're not going to treat you like a number. We're going to give you a really good fitness service at a very, very decent price. And we're not selling you flash. We're not selling you get ripped in 6 weeks. We're not telling you you're going to build muscle on your muscle and your eyebrows are going to be muscled. We are just like literally giving it to you as it is. We're sticking to the basics. We've got the knowledge, we have the expertise, and because I'm doing it online in a very smart way, I'm able to offer it at a very reasonable price. But it doesn't mean that you are just getting generic crap. You are getting proper programming. You are getting attention, personalized attention. I personalize every single one of my programs. You don't need any equipment. If you do have equipment, I do my best to incorporate that for you. And I honestly am just trying my best here, guys. But I promise I give my heart to everything that I do. And if you join, you will not regret it. So thank you so much for joining me this Tip Tuesday. I hope to see you guys next week. I'm sorry about last week. Last week was a combination of miscommunication with my social media team, as well as me going through some personal stuff. Emotionally, I just didn't have the energy to give to one of these videos last week. But I'm feeling a heck of a lot better. My family members that were also going through things are also doing better. Things are moving forward. Thank you for joining, and I will see you guys next week.